course is the most beautiful racetrack in America, hands down.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the breeding stock sale. Book one. Good to have you back with us.
Welcome in, everybody. I've got one question for you. How'd you like today? What a great day of racing it was at Keeneland and around the country. All the big Triple Crown preps and that big, deep card we had on Toyota Bluegrass Day at Keeneland was absolutely fantastic. As a horse player, it was wonderful to take part in the action. As a fan, it was even better. And as a jockey and trainer for some of the folks at Keeneland, it was a very, very big day. Our Saturday recap begins with Tyler Gaffalione, leading jockey at Keeneland in 2021 with 40 wins over the two meets. He had 4 on Saturday's card. Flavian Pratt, Irad Ortiz with 2 apiece. They've now combined for 9 over the first 2 days of racing. Florida and California's finest are converging in Kentucky, and they are making a major, major impact. Brendan Walsh, 3 training wins, all coming on the card, including with Half Brothers and Prevalence winning in Stakes Company, upsetting the Commonwealth. And Wesley Ward had 2 wins, and we're going to take a look at one of Wesley Ward's wins in just a second, because there were 2 really eye-popping performances, several throughout the course of the day. Spenderella, she was brilliant on the turf. Give credit to trainer Graham Motion. Yesterday was Cy Dog. He won Friday's race, the Transylvania, for the 3-year-old colts. Then Spenderella won the Appalachian today for the 2-year-old or for the 3-year-old filly. So Motion sweeps the sophomore turf stakes in the spring meet here at Keeneland, and those horses got to be set up. Maybe Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup in the fall for Spenderella when she comes back. But 2 main stars today, and let's go back and review the performances. First, Gate the Wire, the Shakertown. There is one key turf sprinter in America right now, and you are about to see him.
And they're off in the Shakertown. Golden Pal comes right out, running for the early lead. Johnny Unleashed comes away running in the 2nd position. Philo de Ariana is away in 3rd. Just Might, 4th up on the outside. Chessmaster, his 5th back toward the inside. Gear Jockey comes away running in 6th. The Learjet is in 7th, placed 1 lane off the rail, nearly 10 lengths off the lead. Diamond Oops is in 8th. Barraza 9th. Long way back, Natural Power is last, 20.94 seconds. The time for the opening quarter, Golden Pal leads it by 2 lengths. Johnny Unleashed giving chase from the 2nd position around the far turn. Another length and a half. Just Might is 3rd. A break of 5 more lengths to Philo de Ariana, and then Gear Jockey, who swings toward the outside. The Learjet's got a long way to come, still 10 from the front. Golden Pal moves into the final furlong of the Shakertown and leads it by 3 lengths. Johnny Unleashed is 2nd by 3. Just Might is 3rd. Gear Jockey 4th. The Learjet is 5th. Golden Pal, the lead is out to 5 lengths in deep stretch for Golden Pal. Irad Ortiz Jr., Gear Jockey running late, trying to catch Johnny Unleashed with Diamond Oops, but Golden Pal wins it for Irad Ortiz Jr. Johnny Unleashed across the wire in 2nd, going to be close for 3rd.
The first of 2 Wesley Ward Turf Sprint winners. He also won the nightcap at 14-1. Tipped the cap there to Tom Leach with a nice pick with Infinite in the finale. So Wesley Ward with a big day, 2 Turf Sprint wins. Golden Pal just has no match in the Turf Sprint ranks right now. He is absolutely phenomenal. But the main event on Saturday was the Toyota Bluegrass. That's why everybody was there, piling into Keeneland. Snow in the morning, but Mother Nature smiled on the rest of the day, and it was a fantastic renewal. We had 3-4 top-ranked kind of horses going in this year's Toyota Bluegrass Stakes, back to Grade 1 status where it belongs, and today was an absolute Grade 1 edition of the race that lived up to it on the racetrack. Let's go back and take a look at today's Bluegrass, where Zandon and Smile Happy put on a show.
And they're off in the Grade 1 Toyota Bluegrass Stakes. And there goes Volcanic, and there goes Emmanuel out for the lead. Emmanuel now moves forward and takes the advantage. Golden Glider will go second. Volcanic, his third down toward the inside. Ethereal Road comes away running in fourth. Smile Happy is going to be wide in fifth around the first turn. Fenwick is sixth back toward the inside. Trademark is seventh there in between horses. Zandon in close quarters between horses as well. In the eighth spot heading off the first turn. Blackadder ninth on his outside. Command Performance is in 10th. And Rattle and Roll is last of the 11 after an opening quarter in 24.04 seconds. Emmanuel the leader. Emmanuel leads it by 3/4 of a length. And then Golden Glider second 3/4 of a length. Smile Happy is third up on the outside. Volcanic a lane off the rail in fourth. Fenwick moves by to his inside, takes over fourth by just ahead. And then Trademark, who's 3 lanes off the rail, in the fifth position. Ethereal Road is in sixth. Blackadder's a wide seventh. And then Command Performance comes next onto the far turn. Zandon in behind horses 8 lengths off the lead, has Rattle and Roll to his outside. It was 48.39 seconds for the opening half mile. Emmanuel the leader on to the final turn. Emmanuel by just a length. Golden Glider second 3/4 of a length. Smile Happy is right there third up on the outside as they round the turn. And then comes Trademark in fourth. Rattle and Roll angles to the far outside fifth, still 9 lengths off the lead just outside of Ethereal Road. Moving by the quarter pole, Emmanuel the leader. Smile Happy now takes aim from the outside. Here's Smile Happy to take the lead from Emmanuel into the final furlong, and Zandon is running late. Zandon has moved through all kinds of traffic from the back of the pack, and he is now taking command in deep stretch. It's over. Zandon wins the Toyota Bluegrass with a dramatic stretch run for Flavian Pratt. Smile Happy had to settle for second, 1 minute 50.35 seconds.
The 2 favorites in the Toyota Bluegrass, clearly best in the end, and Zandon goes on to the Kentucky Derby and will be one of the major contenders. Smile Happy, no real excuse in defeat, wide on the first turn, but certainly turning for home. Maybe that took a little bit of toll and starch out of him in the stretch, but he ran his race. He was about 4 lengths clear of the rest, and Emmanuel holding on for third in there after setting the pace. So the A-list horses all ran their races. It was a great addition of the Toyota Bluegrass, and it set us up for a final day of the opening weekend here, where we have more stakes action for you, and I can't wait to get to this Sunday card, so let's talk about it and what we have on tap for Sunday. 2 stakes races in all, the Palisades for turf sprinters, and then we're going to have the Beaumont, a grade 3 for 7 furlong 3-year-old fillies on the main track. We're going to go through the entire card, and as we've been doing here on the Look Ahead program each night, the one thing that we want to get you set up for is the big picture, and here comes the big picture for Sunday. This is the outline of the entire race card, how a handicapper should approach things. Look where the pick 4s and pick 5s start. Where are the turf pick 3 races? Where are the stakes races? Where are your best bets and your key plays? That's how we line things up. Again, in the big picture on Friday, we knocked a nice $17 winner out of the park early in the card. Same thing, another 7-1 winner with one of our key plays early in the program on Saturday. We thought the sequence might open up yesterday if we were able to knock off Golden Pal. As you saw in the replay, that wasn't the case to try to hit a big one late in the day. The Old Stakes pick 5 only ended up paying $85. So it was not the kind of sequence to take a lot of different shots at. You try to beat a favorite or two, but as it turned out, the best horses came with their game on Saturday, and that's why that sequence didn't look like one that you wanted to make a widespread investment in terms of number of combinations. You can always bet $100 on a pick 5, but if you only have 20 combinations, play it 5 times instead of spreading out in all 50-cent tickets. How does the Sunday big picture line up? This is interesting because this is our first 9-race card of the season. And with a 9-race card, you're going to see race number 5 become incredibly important. I call it the swing race because it ends the early pick 5 and it starts the late pick 5. If you can get a good opinion in these races where there's swing races on the 9-race cards, and we get the same thing with some of the 8-race cards in the overlap, this is where you really want to strike. As you're doing your homework tonight and into tomorrow and get set up for the racing tomorrow afternoon, focus on race number 5. This is where you've got to put your most work in. If you're going to budget your time on watching race replays or going and doing a little more pedigree study or a more statistical deeper dive, race 5 is where you want to do it, because if you can come up with a key play in race number 5, you set yourself up in both sequences to really have a chance to do something. And keep in mind, the early pick 4 is also part of race number 5. So it is part of 3 sequences. add in the turf pick 3, and it becomes part of 4 major bets on the day. Race 5, absolutely critical, and we can see that when we kind of map things out with the big picture. My key plays are going to come in races 3 and 6 outside of that, and we'll talk about those races individually here in just a moment. So that's how you set the day up. You take a big picture look, and as I've been showing everybody throughout, you don't need a big fancy graphic. This is your big picture right here. Scribble the races down, mark where they're at, the turf pick 3s, where your key bets are. That's all you have to do. But have a plan as you go into the race day. It's so important, and not enough horse players do it. I think a small percentage do. A lot of people are just playing race to race, but they don't know where to place their money, where to place their hardest bets, their heaviest bets. Take your time, get ahead, and figure out where you want to play. What that also does is allow you more time to follow the tote board and important things like seeing the horses in the warm-up and the paddock. You're not scrambling around trying to figure out what to do. You're not trying to make up for mistakes earlier on the card. You're planned, you're prepared, and then you can adapt when you see something on the tote board that looks a little askew to you. There was a situation, today in race number 3 where you're kind of between a couple horses after the race came off the turf. One of them's even money and one of them's 7-1. Now you can make that adjustment and go to the 7-1. You're prepared. You've done the homework. You know the horses are even contenders to you, and now you see a much better price and you go dive in and jump on it, and preparation allows you to do something like that because you're set to go. Okay, so let's take a look at where the big plays may come on this Sunday card. The Keeneland Public Handicappers. I bring this up each night on the look ahead. This is available. This is the Handicappers Consensus at Keeneland.com. It's available every night. Scott Hazelton, Tom Leach, myself, Gabby Gaudette, Kim Nelson. There's also other analysts on there who do a great job in the handicapping section with full write-ups, so be sure to check those folks out as well. But the consensus box is easy to kind of put here, and it gives us a snapshot of the day, and this is why I like to do it. For instance, look at race number 3. Al Kahira, a pick by 4 of the 5 handicappers. I happen to think Al Kahira is one of my key plays of the day. Now, that's my handicapping. Now I go to the consensus box and I see 4 of the 5 of us are all on the same horse. I might not get the price I think I'm going to get on this horse on the win pool. So I might have to get more creative with Al Kahira. It's not that I dislike the horse anymore now. I like him a lot, and I like him more because other people like him as well. That bolsters my confidence. It doesn't change my opinion, but it's going to lower our win pool price. So if we're going to bet Al Kahira, now we're starting to think, okay, maybe we won't get 3-1 or 7-2 as originally projected. This horse might be 9-5 or 2-1, and we're going to have to adjust and maybe single and multi-race wagers. And we look at those swing races and the pick 4s and the pick 5s that race 3 goes through. Maybe Al Kahira becomes a single for us in the early pick 4 and pick 5. Milliken, another horse who's well bet, but I've got a horse to beat Milliken in their hand carved, so I like that as a player. I feel better now because I'm on an island, and I think I might get a little bit better price. So as you look at the race 4 pick that I've got there, number 2 hand carved, this could be a situation where we can come up with a little bit better price than expected. And you look down through the card, Matt Arrea, a horse who's very popular in the stakes race, the Beaumont. This is a horse where 3 of the 5 handicappers have on top. Get a sense of like where the popularity is and where the wide open races are. Race 5, we talked about that being the big swing race on the card. Highest Honors, Mr. Dumas, Hawkish, Midnight Tea Time, and Hawkish are the top picks. So I've got Hawkish in there, so does Kim Nelson. I like to see that. This is, I think, going to be a price horse, and in a race where 5 handicappers come up with 4 different horses on top. So that 5th race, swing race, is going to be so important to all the pick 4s, pick 5s, and turf pick 3, and 4 out of 5 handicappers have different horses in there. That tells you that's going to be a very interesting race, and I can't wait to get to that one. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this card on Sunday. 9 races overall for you, and I'm just going to kind of set the table for you in each of them from here towards the end of the show. We'll get a little bit more preview on the stakes races. We got a little video to look at and some fields there when we get to the stakes later on the card. But 2-year-olds open the action in race number 1. This is Wesley Ward territory. He's won 35 of these races over the course of the past several years since we've gone back to dirt. No other trainers won more than 7. John Hancock is second. So you've got Hancock with the 7, but Wesley Ward's got the 1 and the 2. Star Striker and Gila in here. Ward did get beat and run a bad 6th in the first 2-year-old race of the year back on opening day in the first race on the card. Don't expect him to stay down very long. He's got 2 in here that are obviously live options. Gila, the 2, though, worked at Turfway Park and looks to have the faster works in the morning, but the 1 Star Striker has been working at Keeneland. And that's key. About 85% of the winners in these 2-year-old races during the course of the dirt era, since we've been back on dirt spring 2015 for the spring meets, about 80 to 85% of the winners have local workouts at Keeneland last time out. So horses shipping in from other places didn't get a work over the track, don't run as well as the horses who have. So I like Star Striker over Gila for that local work angle. Irad Ortiz rides the 1, the 2 ridden by John Velasquez. You've got outstanding riders, but the way Ortiz is riding right now, what do you have? 3 opening day, won the final 3 on the card, and then he won 2 on Saturday, a couple big stakes runs. Irad's got 5 wins in 2 days. I think he gets the number 6 with Star Striker in the opener, but I'm not going to try to get past Wesley Ward in that one. Second race on the card is a 6-furlong maiden special weight sprint, or not a maiden special weight, a 6-furlong claiming sprint. And that's a key designation here because one of our handicapping angles that popped us that nice $17 winner on opening day was the fact that we look back at the 6-furlong claiming races back in the spring meet of 2021 last year. And of the 10 run, 5 of the winners came from Turfway Park, and they were almost all wire-to-wire types. Well, that got us a nice winner Vidal on opening day and paid a nice price for us at 6-7 to 1. So we're looking for that same kind of thing here, but this one looks to be a little bit more risky. There are several horses from Turfway Park in race number 2. You got Bodie Bayou in there. You got Papa Says Yes. You got Flores, so you're up to 3 already off of Turfway races. Stellar Grace makes 4. Kayla's Song makes 5. And on the outside, Smile at the Storm makes for 6 horses coming from Turfway. Now, again, I like the speed when you get cheaper claimers going 6 furlongs. Front running speed is very tough to beat at Keeneland. Track conditions wise, speed hasn't just dominated because we had heavy and wet tracks at Keeneland over the first 2 days. We should have really good going tomorrow. Temperature's supposed to be about 65 degrees. Beautiful day, mostly sunny. So track conditions that you saw days 1 and 2 may not be the same here day 3. This track should be tight and fast because it'll dry out. It'll have some moisture to it, which tightens it up. It won't be loose and cuppy and going out from underneath the horses. So I think you're going to see a fast track and speed do well on the Sunday card. Bodie Bayou is rail speed from Turfway Park. That's kind of why I ended up on that one. There are several horses in here making big class drops, though. And when I said this race gives me less confidence and say we hit Vidal early on opening day, I'm a little bit less confident on this one because the class droppers who don't come from Turfway look very strong. I mean, what are you going to do with the 8 4 Dawn for Brad Cox? A maiden special weight winner dropping out of $50,000 optional claiming allowance races, now in for $20,000 non-winner to 2. The 8 should just rubber stamp and punch this field out. There's just no excuse not to. But why are you making such a big class drop? Last time ran on the turf and ran poorly. So if you draw a line through that one, this horse you would think would be coming back in an allowance race. But a claimer and a non-winner to 2 for $20,000, that just seems a little weird to me with the 8 4 Dawn, a red flag if you want handicapping. So maybe we just stick with the Turfway angle. But if the Brad Cox horse wins their 4 Dawn, there will be absolutely no surprise whatsoever. It's just going to be a short price on a horse that looks suspicious to me on the class drop. Third race on the card is one of my key plays, as I told you, the number 1 Al Kahira. And as we go back to the big picture here and we tell you about the key plays, key play 2 here, of course, key play 1 is you've got to attack race 5 to get part of all these sequences. But the key play individually right off the bat for me comes in race number 3. This horse, Al Kahira, is by Cairo Prince, a sire who does outstanding on the Keeneland dirt, especially in route races. This is a 2-turn mile and a 16th. I love the inside post draw for a mile and a 16th, of course. Jose Ortiz can get this horse out of the starting gate, into position, into the clubhouse turn, save all the ground, and then just have the short stretch kicking for home. And a good company line play in here. This horse last time out chased Spenderella yesterday, earlier today, easily won the Appalachian Stakes and looked fantastic doing it. So Al Kahira chased a Turf Star in Spenderella last time. This is a much easier spot back in the maiden special weight ranks, of course. Yes, the race is on the dirt, and you say, well, this horse had its best performance on turf last time, but he also did run second at Churchill on the dirt. And again, the Cairo Prince angle. So it's pedigree to run on the main track here. Great post position. Beaumont Jose Ortiz. I'm all in for Al Kahira. But like we said, this is a horse that in the selection box with all the public handicappers, if you look at race number 3, I'm not the only one seeing the same things there, right? So 4 of the 5 handicappers all have Al Kahira. But to me, this is a single for you in the multi-race wagers. Pick 4, pick 5 going on the card. You want to look at a single and find a single. I think it's Al Kahira for you in race number 3, and I'm just going to settle in on that one. Distinctly Possible for Chad Brown coming out of the Alcibiades last year. Long time on the comeback for this one, but Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz, we've seen what these two guys can do, and Chad just winning with Zandon in the Toyota Bluegrass today. He sets this Curlin colt up, filly, I should say, to go 2 turns. Curlins love Keeneland. They love going long at Keeneland, so there's a good pedigree play there, too, with Distinctly Possible. You have 2 standout horses, I think, in this race, Distinctly Possible and Al Kahira. If you can single one of them, that helps you immensely in the pick 4s and pick 5s. You think about it, to go from 1 horse to 2 horses, that doubles the price of your ticket. And all you did was add 1 unit, 1 horse, 1 combination to your ticket, but it doubles the price. And so when you match them up with all the other horses and all the other races, it gets very expensive going from 1 to 2 in your ticket. So it's Al Kahira and Distinctly Possible. I see those 2 as standouts. Falconet on the outside is going to have a tough post to overcome. First time going 2 turns, but a quality horse for Todd Pletcher, who's going to take a lot of money. Falconet's going to get bet. Chad Brown's horse is going to get bet. So maybe Al Kahira is, again, maybe 3-1, 7-2. It's a win bet at that price for sure. But I'm going to try to be gutsy and single Al Kahira in race number 3 on Sunday. Now let's go to the 4th on the card. It's an allowance race here, and race number 4 is 6 furlong allowance. There's some good horses in here, folks. You've got Milliken coming off a huge race last time out down at Gulfstream Park, and behind Reinvestment Risk, a really good, that was a tough allowance race. 96 Beyer speed figure. If you follow the speed figures, that's going to tell you that Milliken's going to get bet for sure. Ian Wilkes, Brian Hernandez there. You've got Dream Shake down on the rail. This is a horse who was on the Triple Crown Trail, 3rd in the Santa Anita Derby, ran on Derby weekend in the Pate Mile and just missed in one of the great whackers, that Jackie's Warrior race against Dream Shake. What a phenomenal race that was last year on Derby Day. Jackie's Warrior was no worse for the wear after that and went on to have a great season. It wiped Dream Shake out, and Dream Shake wasn't the same kind of horse after that. He now makes his first appearance since the Del Mar Summer Meet last year. Not quite sure what Dream Shake's got, but it's a $110,000 allowance race off the bench for sneaky connections. Peter Urton wins races and is shrewd in where he puts his horses, that they're coming on the plane and they got here and they get Flavian Pratt, who's riding so well. You have to respect Dream Shake quite a bit. Hand Carved to me looks to be the horse who could be loose on the lead, though. Wesley Ward training, gets Joe Talamo aboard. This is a horse who, he comes from Turfway. He's going to run on the dirt. And you say, I'm leery of the Turfway horses on dirt at this class level. That's a reasonable deal. In the claiming level and the Turfway speed, it holds up very well. At the allowance level, sometimes those Turfway horses get swallowed up by the classier horses from other regions. But I think Hand Carved for Wesley Ward Barn is firing on all cylinders here to start the meet with his older horses, certainly on the turf. I think Hand Carved has a chance to get the lead in this race. I don't see a lot of 6 furlong speed in here, so I've got Hand Carved loose on the lead. But the 1, the 2, and the 3 are all very legitimate race horses, and you're talking pick 4s and pick 5s. If we can single in a prior race, then in this race, I think you would like to go 2 or 3 deep in here for sure. But Hand Carved, to me, the horse to beat in race number 4. Let's move on to the 5th race on the card, and this is the one that we were talking about. This is your key play in the big picture. This starts the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. It's the swing race in the early Pick 5 and begins the late Pick 5. So a lot cooking in this one, and there are definitely a few different ways you can go in here. I do like a horse in here, though, quite a bit. His name is Hawkish. I've been hawkish on Hawkish since he was a young horse as a 3-year-old. He was a really talented 3-year-old turf horse and looked like he was going to be a budding star. He's now age 7, and he's only started 19 times. So from ages 2 to 6, he only made 19 starts. That tells you kind of what the career's been like for Hawkish. Tremendous turn of foot when he was on his best. I mean, just glided over the grass and picked it up. And now Hawkish has been in recovery mode, if you will, trying to get back to where he was at one point. And he didn't look like he was getting there for several starts until last time out. I thought he ran a really good race last time out on turf course that had a little bit of give to it. Good turf down at Gulfstream last time in a Lowndes Company. He came rallying at 20-1 and made a really nice move under Emisel Jaramillo. Now you get Jose Ortiz riding for Jimmy Toner. Toner, veteran turf trainer. This is a well-bred horse who just, I think this is his day where he's back. You know, he got the wake-up call last time out in January. Now he's kind of saved up for this Keeneland meet. Toner, Fresh horses run well on the turf here at these mile and a 16th kind of distances. I'm all in and I'm bullish on Hawkish, who's working tremendously. I watched his workout at XBTV and I loved it. So I'm going in with Hawkish as my big play here. I know he's double digits in the morning line. You might want to get a little bit more coverage and look at some other contenders in race number 5. But for me, it's one of my key plays of the day. I think he's rounding back into form. He goes to an absolute superstar rider in Jose Ortiz off a big workout that I got to see on video. XBTV is a great resource. If you've never used it, it's free to use. All you have to do is put in some login credentials, give your email address, that sort of thing like that. And you can download it and watch workouts. They don't have the workouts at Keeneland, but a lot of the horses who worked over the winter in Florida, you'll be able to see those workouts, especially the ones here early in the meet. They may have just worked in Florida and then came up the coast and are arriving here at Keeneland, and the last work that shows for them or the previous work to that will be down at one of the training centers or at Gulfstream Park. Great resource. Be sure to take advantage of that. The Keeneland Clocker Report, anytime you can get any information off that. The written information on the Keeneland Clocker Report, that's fantastic on the Keeneland.com website. So many great resources at Keeneland available for you free. Also, trip notes available free for the first time this meet. And my stats blog that goes through all these stats and trends that we talk about. A lot more detail on the written blog than I can give you here while I'm talking. It would take me forever to kind of go through each and every stat and trend. But again, at Keeneland.com in the handicapping section, you can get my blog each day that has all of these handicapping stats as well. But if Hawkish wins race number 5 on Sunday, it's going to be one heck of a weekend. I can tell you that. That's how you base your bets. You find something you really like, you hone in on it, and you try to hit it 6 ways to Sunday, as they say. And being on Sunday, let's knock race number 5 out of the park. Hopefully it's Hawkish for me. Midnight Tea Time, highest honors, other horses in there, Mr. Dumas that you want to consider if you're going deeper. But for me, it's all about Hawkish in race number 5. 6th race on the card on Sunday is a 6.5 furlong allowance race here. We don't get a lot of 6.5 furlong allowance races at Keeneland. Only 12 of them run in spring meets since going back to dirt in 2015. It's been, a decent spot for horses turning back in distance. Half of the races, 6 of the 12, have been won by horses who went a mile or less last time, or a mile or more last time, I should say. So the cut back in distance from a mile or longer, to be clear, a mile or longer last time out. Half the races have been won by those horses, and 8 of the 12 races have been won by horses who ran 7 furlongs or more last time and made even a small cut back in distance. So look for horses that are going a little bit farther than what the trends say, and maybe you can come up with a winner in here. And I think this is my key play 3 where we talk race 6, because this is a huge field. 12 horses on the main track. You don't get a lot of 12-horse main track races anywhere in America anymore. Keeneland's one of the exceptions, and usually when you do, it's a maiden race, that sort of thing. You've got good allowance horses with 12. Huge field, quality horses, and the favorites are bucking that trend in here. Like I told you, 8 of the 12 winners in the 6.5 furlong races ran 7 furlongs or longer last time. The favorites in this race, to me, look to be number 4, Bomb Diggity, and number 5, Aerobatic. The 4 and the 5 for Steve Asmussen and Chad Brown, certainly connections that are going to get bet. Joel Rosario, Irad Ortiz, they're going to get bet. But Bomb Diggity and Aerobatic both come out of races at 6.5 and 6 furlongs last time out. They are trying to stretch out here at the trip, or they both come out of races at 6 furlongs going to 6.5. So they're adding distance. And again, 3/4 of the winners, it's 8 out of 12. It's not a massive sample size, but that's fairly significant, I think. 2/3 of the winners, 8 of 12. 2/3 of the winners ran 6.5 or 7 furlongs or longer last time and cut back to the 6.5. See, that's why it's sometimes easier to read the blog than for me to just try to read off stats. I see them on the paper, and they don't always come out of the mouth the way they come off the pen. So, again, consult the blog and get even more of these details. But I like the horses. Bottom line, race number 6. I'm looking for a horse who ran farther than this 6.5 trip last time. Both favorites ran shorter than the trip. Maybe they're vulnerable, and if we're going to get an upset, I'm going to take Veterans Highway as the horse to do it, coming off a win at 7 furlongs. He's one of my key plays, the 12th horse on the outside. He's got a little bit of tactical speed. I don't think the horse is going to be too far out of it, so that 12 hole may not be a big problem if you're up kind of banging and contesting for the lead. Jose Ortiz riding there. So I've got Veterans Highway in race number 6 as one of my key plays of the day. And as we go back and just give you the quick review of the big picture, again, race number 6, key play. Big field, favorites are bucking the trend. Let's try to get the horse cutting back in distance. Key race is the 5th in terms of the swing race. We got a horse in there, Hawkish, that we're going to try to be bullish about and get that one home in race number 5. And in in race number 3, we've got the horse that we think can be our single, Al Kahira, in race number 3 for the early pick 4 and the early pick 5. Race number 3 can be our single there with a good pedigree play and a great inside draw post. Let's go to the 2 stakes races back-to-back on the card on Sunday. First up in race number 7 is the Palisades. The Palisades has a field of 8, and one of those horses is a standout in terms of resume. We had 2 horses, in fact, in this race, including Coffee Maker, coming out of last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Let's take a look back.
They're all in line. They're off in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And there goes Twilight Gleaming right out for the early lead. Opening up a length and a half from one-timer. Averly Jane, Coffee Maker, and Twilight Jet on the inside. Vertiginous is next. And then on the far outside, Run Curtis Run, followed by Time to Party. Break of 2 to Go Bears Go. Armor is next on the outside, then Hierarchy and Derry Jane at the back of the pack. So they make their way around the far turn, and it is Twilight Gleaming and One-Timer, and the 2 of them are right together up front. Averly Jane has to come from off the pace. She's 2.5 lengths behind. On the inside is Twilight Jet. Coffee Maker is next, and they're coming to the top of the stretch. One-Timer on the outside of Twilight Gleaming. These 2 with Twilight Gleaming in front. One-Timer on the outside. Trying to come up the fence is Hierarchy with a late bid. In the center, Coffee Maker is coming too. Derry Jane from the back of the pack is flying. Here's the wire. It's Twilight Gleaming. Twilight Gleaming has done it. Go Bears Go was second. It's a blanket finish for third in 56.24.
We might not be in for the same cavalry charge at the wire the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint produced, but we have a star in Twilight Gleaming on the return and going to be very tough in here for trainer Wesley Ward. We talked about this before. Ward's won more turf sprint races than anybody at Keeneland by far. He's already got a couple this meet. He just won the finale and the stakes race on Saturday in the turf sprint ranks. He's got 2 in here with Coffee Maker and Twilight Gleaming, both going to be very, very tough. If you do look for an upset in here, number 2, Slipstream, one to keep an eye on. Slipstream ridden by Joel Rosario, who is absolutely pure power on the turf here at Keeneland in turf sprints. He has a phenomenal win percentage, over 30 to 35% for Joel Rosario in the turf sprints at Keeneland with a huge ROI. The return of investment, you make a big profit just flat out betting Joel Rosario blindly in turf sprints at Keeneland over the last several years. So if Slipstream gets any kind of trip and things work out and comes flying at the end under Rosario, maybe you can upset the 2 Ward horses. But I think that you've got to beat Coffee Maker and Twilight Gleaming, the 2 for Wesley Ward. Ward won this race. It's been run 3 times, the Palisades. The first year he won it, it was won by, or I should say, the first year it was won by Bulletin, who was trained by Todd Pletcher, but that was a horse coming out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf off the same layoff that Wesley Ward's trying to do it with Twilight Gleaming. So this race obviously can be won off that kind of layoff with that kind of horse, as we saw it happen with Bulletin and Pletcher back in the first renewal of this. They did not run the Palisades during the pandemic year, but it's been run twice. This will be the 3rd edition of the Palisades Turf Sprint. The Beaumont Stakes has a lot more history at Keeneland, goes back decades in this grade 3 7-furlong race. Might set horses up for some sprints down the line, but can also project the horse into the Kentucky Oaks. We've seen that happen over the years. So this year's field for the Beaumont Stakes, I don't know if anybody wants to jump into that Kentucky Oaks ring after what we saw with Nest and earlier this year and Echo Zulu and just the tremendous fillies that we've seen around the country. So the Kentucky Oaks picture is very, very loaded and difficult. These horses may stay in the sprint ranks. And based on the field that we have this year, there's not a lot of horses in that route the sprint kind of cutback area. Radio Days is going to try to cut back for Shug McGahee after running 4th in the Busher Stakes. Otherwise, you've got horses who have been running 6 furlongs trying to stretch out the 7. And the Beaumont Stakes, to me, runs through Matarea. Matarea was an impressive runner down at Fairgrounds last time out. It really improved, jumped off the screen, won by 5 for trainer Brad Cox. He's off to a good start this meet. He's always tough in the Keeneland Spring. We know that. Flavian Pratt will take the call. He's riding so well. Outside post at the about 7 furlong distance. Matarea should get a tremendous trip. Great start to the meet for Godolphin. Won a couple races. Prevalence in the Commonwealth on Saturday. They could have the Big Blue in the winner's circle again with Matarea. I think she's going to be awfully tough in here. Radio Days on the cutback from the Busher is one that I think you want to keep an eye on. And Lady Scarlet down on the inside won the Cicada Stakes up at Aqueduct by Union Rags. Union Rags had a fantastic year last year. He was the top sire at Keeneland with 7 victories on the dirt in 2021. Union Rags, the sire of Lady Scarlet. No doubt in my mind this horse will like the main track based on pedigree. Down on the rail, we'll see what kind of trip she gets under Jose Ortiz. Just an absolute contender in here, Lady Scarlet. I think if you're playing the multi-race wagers late in the day, this is a situation where the Beaumont may have a 7-horse field, and the temptation is to narrow and try to find a single in here. I'm not necessarily sure this is the single race. I think there are 3 legit contenders in here. Gina Romantica is another one, debut winner for Chad Brown. I ride Ortiz rides. Wasn't that fast down at Tampa. This doesn't remind me of one of Chad's kind of standout type horses, so I will leave her out with a little reluctance. Brendan Walsh has the 3 in here, Majestic Doro. Brendan Walsh won 3 races on the first half of the card on Saturday, so his barn's going well. As you can see, I'm making cases for a lot of horses in a 7-horse field, and I'm trying to be a little bit cold on a Chad Brown I ride Ortiz horse, and that's never a good move. So this 8th race is going to be one I think you want to spread on. It's not the kind of race that you can just hone in and feel absolutely confident. But I do think Matarea on the outside is the horse to beat in the Beaumont. We'll see how that shakes out in the feature on Sunday. And tomorrow's finale is a mile and 3/16 turf race to wrap things up. Again, a mile and 3/16 on the grass is one of those distances we don't get a lot of, but you're starting to get out there. You know, you're almost up to the 1.25 miles, just 9.5 furlongs here. Pedigree really matters. The turf course won't be as soft as it has been the first 2 days. Probably we're going to start to firm up a little bit more, warmer temperatures, but it's not going to be firm. And we rarely get a firm designation at Keeneland in the spring or the fall. Good is about as good as it gets for turf course conditions at Keeneland. Very, very rare to see the firm. When we had the summer makeup meet a couple years ago, we had absolutely firm turf, and they destroyed all the track records that meet. That's the difference between really firm turf in the summer and what we get in the spring and the fall here at Keeneland. So, but the point is, it'll be a little bit soft. It won't be as soft as it has been, but you get little softish turf with a 1 mile and 3/16 distance. You're going to start to lean on these horses for pedigree and class, and that's why I kind of bring up the turf course condition and the distance of this race. I'd handicap for class in here in pedigree. I think the 8 remote is one to watch. There's got Galileo on the dam side. I think horses get their stamina from the dam side of the pedigree as a handicapper. The sire is usually the more brilliant one, and the dam side gives you the stamina and the endurance. So I'm looking for dam sires who have a real good distance influence. For me, I mentioned, I think, on the program yesterday, but Dynaformer, anytime Dynaformer's in the pedigree line, you're not going to see Dynaformer as a sire anymore because he passed away and there's too much time has gone under the bridge since then. But you're going to see him as the grand sire and the dam sire. And so when you get Dynaformer on the bottom of the pedigree, that's a great sign. The other real tell horse in terms of distance pedigree worldwide to me is Galileo. So you've got remote in here, the 8 in the finale. If you're looking for class, you're looking for pedigree, and you're looking for endurance, this one's dam sire Galileo. I think that's a real consideration to make. We've got a couple other in there that have the outstanding pedigrees as well. You got the Dynaformer with the 5 vintage year as the grand sire on the top side. On the bottom side, you've got Ghost Sapper. So to me, the 2 pedigree plays in the last race are remote, the 8, and vintage year, the 5. And I'm looking at the second generation here for some stamina. You've got Galileo, you got Dynaformer. Anytime you see those 2 in the pedigree for a long-distance turf race, and when the conditions come up a little bit on the softer side, and that stamina is relied on more and more, that's kind of the direction I lean. So that's how I'll send you out in race number 9 in the finale on the Sunday card. I hope you've enjoyed the Keeneland look-aheads over the first 3 days of the meet. They're kind of a experiment in progress, if you will. If you have any feedback on Twitter, you can follow me at HorsePlayerNow. I'll put up my Twitter feed, and you can certainly send me a message anytime you want on Twitter, or check in with us with our blog pages and stuff like that. Give us any kind of feedback you can as we'd love to hear from you about playing the races here at Keeneland. There's the at Horse Player Now for you on Twitter if you want to send a message. I'd be happy to take any feedback on how to make the show better, pro, con, what you like, what you don't like, and what we're doing here, because we're going to do it the night before every race day throughout the course of the entire 15-day meet. So racing is going to resume after our Sunday card on Wednesday, so we'll be back with you next on the Keeneland Look Ahead Tuesday night at 8:30. On behalf of everybody at Keeneland and Horse Player Now, I'm Jeremy Plonk. Good luck on the Sunday card. Go get him, everybody.